Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ann Blackwood, your Silicon Valley Sage Sister, here to bring consciousness to the forefront of your daily life to make life a little kinder and simpler. I want to talk about fads. I want to talk about human design. I want to talk about astrology. And I want to talk about fads. So, I don't know a whole lot about human design. But when it comes to things like human design and astrology, I take everything with a grain of salt. Everybody knows the running joke about how you could switch up anybody's horoscope for the day and tell them it was theirs, and they'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I had noticed that a long time ago. And then I started getting into the deeper astrology, actually doing the whole chart. And recently I've been looking at the human design stuff. And as everyone else that I know who has gotten into human design and their human design, they would honestly say, oh yeah, that's totally me. But we have to take into consideration the fact that if, like diets, for instance, every diet works for a little while until it stops working, because there's no substitute for good old-fashioned healthy living. When it comes to living life in a way that makes you happy and healthy, all of these fads like diets, fortune telling, there's no substitute for genuine, happy, and healthy living. And that's not me saying that I think spirituality should be taken out of the mix, because I am a firm believer in spirit being the top of that pyramid of the Holy Trinity of health. But that being said, we have to be careful, as I say in other videos, not to get into superstition and things like superstition, where we're actually causing ourselves more harm than good, because we're substituting the quick fixes for long-term tools and skills that will get us long-term results. So, the jury's still out for me on human design. But like with astrology, for instance, I read all of my horoscopes after the fact as a way of processing what's been going on in my life. I use it as sort of a thought exercise and a journal exercise to say, okay, these are the little insights when it comes to how the planets may have affected my life in this period of time. And it's always good to have outside perspectives. It's always, there's no harm when, when you can take everything in stride, when you can take everything reasonably and not get caught up on any one particular thing, then outside perspectives are never a bad thing. And the more the merrier, really. If you can handle taking in all of those perspectives, without getting too caught up in how other people think and feel, associating that with yourself. So you've just got to be careful. I know so many people who, you know, I've had a couple of clients that I've had to let go because they weren't ready to actually do the work. They wanted me to give them what they thought were all the answers and just thought the answers themselves were going to fix things, when there's actually work involved on the client's end, as far as what I do, to actually have things get better. So I can't help someone. If they're not ready and willing to do the work. I am on my way, coming down Foothill, period. So, you really just want to be careful. That's what pills are all about, often, is people wanting a quick fix. That's not how it. People wanting a quick fix when it comes to their problems, and rather than doing the work on their own to fix their life, they just take a pill so that they change their brain chemistry artificially to get themselves used to a bad situation, rather than doing the work to put themselves in a better situation. I see it all the time between people who just, they're in that stage where they just want to complain and complain and complain and wish their life was better, but isn't ready to do anything about it. And so, you know, we have multiple generations of people hooked on medications that, when used in the proper situations, are still reasonable, but very few people are using them for the reasonable. What are these people doing? Very few people are actually using them for the reasonable. The thing is that very few people need them. So if they're using them at all, it's unreasonable. We have learned to make excuses and use quick fixes in places that there's a time and a there is a time and a place for a quick fix, as is there a time and a place to use pharmaceutical medication. But they're rare. But they're quick. So they're so tempting. And then people get addicted to them. But the problem is that they're the quick fixes. So eventually, you most often end up having them get used so many times that they stop working. So you either have to find another one, or you're left still having, and in the end you are still, even if you find another one for a short period of time, you still have to fix it properly, if you fix it at all, or live miserable. when you could have just not wasted your time and started with the healthy, long-term oriented fixes in the first place, and then never wasted your time doing unhealthy fad after unhealthy fad after unhealthy fad. Anyway, I am almost to where I'm supposed to be. I have spots available for my one-on-one client sessions. Hit me up. I will leave a link in the description for you to fill out if you're ready to get your shit together, as I say. If you're ready to bring the consciousness to the forefront of your daily life, to make life kinder and simpler, happier and healthier, hit me up. That's what I'm here for. All right, guys, may the energy you serve you well. And in the meantime, if you want to, if you're not quite ready to take that plunge, because trust me, there's one thing I understand, it's how hard it is to commit to yourself and just do the damn thing. I get it. Sometimes it can take some convincing of yourself to do the right thing for yourself. So if you're not ready to take the deep plunge and actually get healthy full force, go check out my Patreon, because it has my course, which is at a minimum the essentials of what I do in the beginning with my clients, along with all sorts of other deeper one-off videos about all sorts of amazing things. I've got my Spirituality 101 series happening right now, coming out a video at a time. I think I have 4 videos in that right now. All sorts of good stuff over on Patreon. So go check that out over on Patreon. And if you are ready to take the deep plunge with me and actually get your whole holy trinity of health healthy, and therefore have happiness come naturally, hit me up. Link in the description.